Paige Bueckers spends most of the year living in fast-forward, cross-country flights, packed arenas, film sessions, pressure possessions, the whole deal. But when Christmas rolls around, the Dallas Wings guard its paws in a way that might surprise a lot of fans. No flashy trips, no over-the-top influencer holiday content, just a tree, some board games, a familiar movie, and a family gift that carried her through one of the hardest stretches of her life. And while she's finally slowing down off the court, there's another storyline heating up in the background. Could her old UConn running mate Azzi Fudd eventually join her in Dallas and reunite one of college basketball's most hyped backcourts at the WNBA level? Everything in this video is based on publicly available reporting and interviews, and is meant for entertainment and informational purposes only. Let's start with Paige's Christmas, because it really does show a different side of her. Coming off her first professional season, the 24-year-old talked to the New York Post about how she handles the holidays now that she's a full-time WNBA player. For someone whose job is built around constant movement and scrutiny, she made it very clear that December is when she tries to reset the entire system. She said the holidays are what bring balance back into a life that is otherwise defined by schedules, scouting reports, social media noise, and the never-ending expectation that she performs at an elite level every single night. When you're in that grind, it can be easy to forget what a genuine day off feels like. For Paige, Christmas is a reminder. What stands out is how intentionally simple she keeps everything. While a lot of public figures use the festive season as a chance to post extravagant gift hauls and decked-out house tours, Paige describes something much smaller and more intimate. She said her Christmas routine is centered on shared experiences rather than stuff. It's about being physically present with the people she loves, not seeing how many expensive presents can fit under a tree. The tree, though, is still a big deal, but not in the Pinterest perfect way. Decorating the Christmas tree together is one of the few traditions she mentioned by name. It's not about snapping the perfect photo for Instagram. It's more about the act itself. Untangling lights, hanging ornaments, laughing at old decorations that come with their own stories. It's one of the rare times of year where she's not wearing a Wings jersey or listening to a coach. She's just Paige, someone's daughter, someone's sibling, helping turn a regular room into a Christmas room. And once the tree is done, that's when the Bueckers' competitiveness sneaks back in, just with a much softer edge. She said her family goes heavy on board and card games during the holidays, not the super complicated 10-page rulebook ones. We're talking classics. Skyjo, Uno, Sorry, Yahtzee. Anybody who's ever had a game night with competitive relatives knows how quickly those can go from friendly to intense. Now imagine that dynamic when one of the people at the table is a WNBA guard whose entire professional life is about reading opponents and finding advantages. Even in those quiet moments, she admitted her competitive streak is still there. She wants to win. She wants the right card. She wants the right role. It's who she is. But she also stressed that, in that setting, the scoreboard isn't the point. The laughter, the jokes, the trash talk that ends with everyone still smiling. That's what matters. It's a completely different feeling from walking into an arena full of cameras and knowing every single mistake will be analyzed somewhere. Then there's movie night. For Paige, when it's time to pick a Christmas film, there's no debate. Her go-to every year is Elf. It makes sense if you think about it. Elf is one of those rare movies that crosses generation lines. Kids love it because it's big and silly. Adults love it because it's smart enough to still be funny even when you can quote half the lines. It's bright, it's familiar, and it's exactly the kind of film that you can put on in the background while people eat dessert, and everyone will still end up watching their favorite scenes. Paige said she likes Elf because of that familiarity. It's comforting. She knows what's coming. In a life where unpredictability is built into the job, trades can happen, injuries can happen, roles can change overnight. There's something special about putting on a movie where every beat is known and every joke lands the same way it did the last 10 times you watched it. But her connection to Christmas isn't just about cozy vibes. It's also tied to one of the toughest chapters of her journey. If you followed her college career with the UConn Huskies, you already know Paige Bueckers went through some serious adversity there. The most brutal part was a torn ACL that wiped out a huge chunk of her time in stores and forced her into a long, exhausting rehabilitation. For an athlete whose identity is wrapped up in being on the floor, injuries like that don't just hit your body. They hit your confidence, your patience, your sense of self, buried in that long rehab timeline. There was one particular Christmas she still remembers vividly. While she was trying to get her knee right, struggling through pain and frustration, her dad gave her a present that didn't look fancy on the surface, but meant more than almost anything: a foot massager. On paper, that's not a flashy gift. It's not a designer bag or a new gadget. But for someone spending hours in physical therapy, icing, stretching, limping, a little at-home tool that can help ease some of the soreness becomes a lifeline. She has talked about how that gift helped take the edge off the physical pain. But it also did something deeper. It reminded her that her family saw what she was going through and wanted to help, even in small practical ways. What's really telling is that she still uses that foot massager today. Years later, as a professional in the WNBA, she sees it as more than just a machine. It's a symbol. It takes her back to when progress felt painfully slow, when she didn't know exactly when she'd be back to herself. It reminds her that even when it looked like she was stuck, people around her believed she'd get through it, and were willing to sit with her in the boring, unglamorous parts of the process. You talk to a lot of athletes, and they'll tell you, the big wins are great, but it's the tiny acts of support during hard times that stick with you. For Paige, that Christmas gift basically became a physical reminder of patience and perseverance. Two things that come to define her entire path from injured college star to starting guard for the Dallas Wings. So while we see the highlight clips, the logo threes, the crossovers, a moment like that foot massager story pulls the curtain back. It shows you how many quiet hours and how much family support goes into making any of that possible. Now, while Paige is taking the short window to recharge, playing Sky Joe, watching Elf, bugging her dad for another massage session, conversations are already happening about what her professional life might look like in the years ahead. And one of the spiciest questions floating out there right now is this: could Azzi Fudd eventually reunite with Paige Bueckers in Dallas? If you follow college hoops, you know exactly why people are even asking. At UConn, the idea of a Bueckers-Fudd backcourt was the stuff of legend before they ever stepped on the floor together. Paige came in first, lit up the country, then Azzi arrived as another top recruit, and the vision was always two elite guards sharing the floor, breaking defenses with shooting and poise. Injuries and circumstances meant we never got a full, uninterrupted run of that pairing at UConn. That unfinished feeling is probably part of why fans now daydream about the two teaming up again in the WNBA, this time wearing Dallas Wings jerseys instead of Husky blue. But as fun as that sounds, a lot has to line up before it becomes anything more than a fan fiction scenario. And the biggest variable is where Azzi Fudd's game goes from here. Right now, evaluators watching Fudd at Connecticut are trying to answer some big questions. No one doubts her shooting ability. That's been her calling card since high school. The mechanics, the range, the quick release, it all looks pro-ready. The question is what else is there and how consistently she can show it, statistically and stylistically. People have pointed out that Fudd, so far, has not taken a ton of off-the-dribble threes or a high volume of shots at the rim. A lot of her attempts have come in catch-and-shoot situations or off one-dribble pull-ups. That's not a bad thing in itself. Plenty of great pros make careers out of being elite spot-up threats. But in the WNBA, especially if you're being considered as a lottery pick or a future primary scorer, teams want to know what happens when defenses game plan specifically for you. Can you attack a hard closeout, change direction, and get all the way to the cup? Can you snake a pick and roll, read the help, and either finish through contact or drop the ball to a big? Can you hit pull UPS off multiple dribbles when a defender forces you inside the three-point line? Those are the things scouts will need to see more to project how Azzi Fudd might look next to someone like Paige Bueckers at the WNBA level. If she comes in as just a catch-and-shoot sniper, that's still valuable, but it changes what kind of guard pairing Dallas will be building. If she proves she can create off the bounce, suddenly the imagination runs a lot wilder. The good news for her is that this year at UConn, with Bueckers already in the pros, Fudd has been handed a very different role. With Paige gone, Fudd has had to step into a more ball-dominant position. She's not just waiting in the corner or on the wing to fire when someone else draws help. She's initiating more possessions, bringing the ball up, making first reads in a half court. The creation duties that were once shared or leaned more heavily on Bueckers now fall more on her shoulders. From a scouting perspective, that's gold. It's the only way teams really get to see what a player is made of. When you're the focal point, defenses adjust. They top block you off screens. They shade help to your side. They send length at you on switches. All of that forces you to show counters or get stuck. By all accounts, in that expanded role, Fudd has shown some important flashes. One of the standout examples was a recent game against the Iowa Hawkeyes on December 20th, where she went off for 27 points. It wasn't just a number that mattered. It was how she got them. Reports from that game talk about improved shot variety. Not just catch and shoot threes, but looks off movement, some mid-range work, and signs of comfort operating in more than just spot-up situations. When a player starts adding those layers, front offices take notice. If Fudd can keep that trajectory going, adding more off-the-dribble attempts, testing herself at the rim more often, showing she can both score and make solid decisions as a primary handler, then the idea of her landing in Dallas alongside Paige stops being pure fantasy and starts moving into the hey, this is possible if the draft breaks right category. Imagine, for a second, what that would look like. Paige Bueckers as a cerebral lead guard who can score at all three levels, set the tempo, and make reads. Azzi Fudd spacing the floor with elite shooting, attacking off screens, and punishing any help that leans too far toward Paige. The chemistry they started building at UConn finally getting a second act on the WNBA stage. This time with more maturity, more seasoning, and more physical development. Of course, that's all down the road. A lot will depend on draft order, team needs, and Fudd's continued development. There's no guarantee Dallas would even have the pick to take her. There's no guarantee they prioritize a reunion over front court depth or other needs. But the fact that people are even talking about it speaks to how much that Bueckers-Fudd duo captured imaginations. And it ties right back into that Christmas story. Because while fans and analysts are out here building hypothetical lineups and studying UConn tape, Paige Bueckers is spending her holiday doing the simplest, most human things. Hanging lights on a tree, arguing over Uno rules, laughing through a game of Sorry, crying from laughter at Buddy the Elf's antics, and resting her legs on a foot massager her dad bought her when she could barely run. That balance between the hyper-analyzed, high-pressure world of WNBA news and the quiet, ordinary rituals of family is what keeps athletes like her grounded enough to make these long careers possible. So as we watch how her on-court story unfolds in Dallas, and as we track Azzi Fudd progression at UConn and into the WNBA draft conversation, it's worth remembering the other side of all of this. Behind every highlight montage is a person spreading out a board game on the table, surrounded by people who knew them before any of the fame. Paige Bueckers might be one of the brightest names in the sport right now, but at Christmas, she's just another 20-something trying to catch her breath, enjoy her people, and remind herself why all the work is worth it. Do you think Azzi Fudd's game will grow enough to make that Dallas reunion realistic? And what's your own version of a foot massager? That one small, practical gift that ended up meaning way more than it looked like on paper. Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories that mix the on-court WNBA grind with the off-court human moments, make sure you subscribe.